Lisa, and today I'm going to share with you a little bit about my family history and culture by showing you how to make a Finnish rye bread called Reikäleipä. So my mom is from Finland, her whole family lives there, and growing up she would always make us this bread. So I'm excited to share it with you today. The ingredients are pretty simple. First is 2 cups of rye flour, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of yeast, 2 teaspoons of white vinegar, 1 teaspoon salt, and 1.5 cups of lukewarm buttermilk. So the first thing we're going to do is just take a bowl and add the 3 tablespoons of yeast. And then we're going to pour the lukewarm buttermilk into the yeast and just allow it to sit for about 1 minute. So this recipe is actually from my grandmother, and she grew up making several loaves once a month for my mom and their family. So rye bread, or bread in general, is definitely a staple in the Finnish diet. But rye especially so, for one of the reasons is because it doesn't spoil very easily. So my grandmother could just store the bread that she made once a month in their house or in the barn throughout the month for their family to enjoy. Okay, so once this buttermilk and yeast has been sitting here for about a minute, then we can go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and add the vinegar and the salt. I'll mix it up a bit. And then I'll add the 2 cups of rye flour. Try to mix it up a bit before adding the 1.5 cups of the all-purpose flour. So once we've done that, I'm just going to try to form it into a dough. And the important thing is just to knead it for about 5 to 10 minutes. So another reason that rye is so common in Finland is that rye bread is so common in Finland is because they were able to use a lot of their local ingredients to make it. So it was just always available. Rye was cultivated about 2,000 years ago in Finland. And one of the reasons it does so well there is because it's able to ripen pretty quickly. It doesn't need a long growing season to do so. And that's really important in Finland because their summers are so short. So yeah, it does really well there. So once the dough's kind of been kneaded for, like I said, about 5 to 10 minutes, then you're just going to want to place it in a well-greased bowl, cover it, and then let it rise for about an hour. So I'm just going to form this kind of into a ball here, and then place it into this bowl and cover it for about an hour while it rises. It does get kind of sticky. Okay, so once it's rose for about an hour, it's going to look like this. As you can see, it's grown quite a bit. So we're just going to take it out, and we want to take a floured rolling pin and kind of roll it out into a circle, like so. You want to make it about 1/2 inch thick and into the best form of a circle as you can. Okay. Once you do that, Then you just want to take a toothpick and poke holes about an inch or so apart throughout the dough. This is called docking, and this kind of helps to prevent air bubbles from forming while it's baking. And then last, you just want to take a circular object and cut a hole right through the middle of the dough. And this is kind of interesting why it's done like this. Like I said, it's normal that they would bake enough dough for the entire month. So in order to store the bread, they would cut this hole in the middle and then hang the bread on like some sort of a broomstick and then hang it up in the rafters of the barn, or maybe even in their kitchen, and store it throughout the month. So once you have this done, you're just going to let it sit on a parchment paper lined pan, cover it, and then let it rise for another hour and a half. So once it's done rising for an hour and a half, then you can go ahead and bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes, and your finished product will look like this. And now all that's left to do is to enjoy it. So like I said, this is a traditional Finnish rye bread called Reikäleipä, and I actually just read that it was Finland's 100-year anniversary of independence this year, and for the first time in history they decided to choose a food that was like their national food, and they chose rye bread, so I thought that was pretty neat. So growing up we used to eat this bread with cheese or butter. So yeah, you just cut a slice, and in Finland it's also common just to put smoked salmon or herring on it. So thanks for your time and enjoy.